Welcome back to another podcast with Miriam Khan at Raise Your Vibes. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Today's podcast is all about making time to relax, especially in our busy schedules. You know, since COVID entered our lives, many of us have either been stuck in these sort of like scenarios where we are working more than the quote per quote 9 to 5 job. Some of us are working extremely hard, very long hours. Some of us are unfortunately in situations where we've either lost our jobs or, our job aspect has changed. All of us are in very, very different dynamics. And sometimes it's been very hard to cope with the situations and the scenarios around us. Our daily lives, our working lives keep changing. Our family lives keep changing because of what's going on around us. The country that we live in, the world that we are surrounded in, obviously is in need of lots and lots of prayers because, COVID does not seem to be going away, unfortunately. No matter how much we are trying really hard to find a cure, trying to find something to help us go back to whatever normality is, it's difficult. And all of us are finding sometimes, different stages, different moods, different phases of our lives that we've gone through. We've gone through stages of anxiety, stress, financial worry, unfortunately, lots of deaths, lots of sadness, lots of bereavement. And sometimes there's been joy as well. It's just trying to find it and making sure that we focus on that. But as we are working, these hectic schedules, these hectic lives, whether it was prior to COVID or not, sometimes we don't always take time to reflect and sit back and relax and look after ourselves. And that, I think all of us are very, very guilty of that, We put effort in for others, we put, commitment in for others. And don't get me wrong, we have all of us that are listening in or tuning in or coming in from different walks of life, Some of us are single, we've got no family members that are reliant on us. There are others where we have our family, they are dependent upon us financially, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Some of us are caring for our elders or people in the community. We might be a teenager, reliant on our adult to help us, and there's that codependency. There's all these different dynamics, and when you're in a busy schedule, busy work life, it's hard sometimes to find even 10 minutes or 30 minutes to just step out of your routine and to put you first and to relax. And it's about making sure we are committed to that, and it's hard. Trust me, I know it's hard. You can have all the time in the world. You can have this schedule that you think, okay, tonight, for example, I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to give myself some cinema time, or I'm going to go swimming, or I'm going to go catch up with friends. I'm going to just go and treat myself to a meal, whether it's a cheap meal or just a meal that you want to enjoy. Or I'm going to pick up the phone and speak to one of my friends who I haven't spoke to in a very long time. All of us will have different dynamics of, what for us helps us relax. It could be that you go and treat yourself to a massage, a relaxing spa day. You might just go for a swim, It might be that you have a particular karate class or, sports class that you enjoy going to, and you've not been in a while perhaps, or you want to pick up a new hobby, a new sport that perhaps, you've always wanted to do but haven't. And sometimes when we are trying to relax, it's about making sure that we put that dedication in, that dedication to ourselves, and making sure that that particular calendar slot on our, timetable is for us, it's dedicated to us. Like I said, sometimes this is very difficult to do, especially when you have other commitments. If you've got children, you've got parents that are relying on you, other people that are codependent on you. It could be that your particular business needs your focus, or who you're working for needs focus. And sometimes these things, take priority. I get that as well. And sometimes we could take our eye off the ball. I mean, I'm guilty of this many, many times. I started to get to a point where, my break times were consumed with work, and I had to get out of it. I had to snap out of it, and I had to make sure that I physically would leave the building of where I would work, whether that meant just going for a walk out of there, going to somewhere that had a little bit of nature, and just being in that completely different environment, even if it was 10 minutes away from where I was. But it just meant I was out of that particular zone, and my mind and my body was somewhere else, you know, and not just wrapped up in work. And these are simple things people can do as well. You know, going for a walk, it costs nothing, doesn't it? You might have a local area where you can go and relax, or just take a dog for a walk. I know lots of people do that as well. But it's just making sure that you put that time aside for you. And that's the thing that I'm getting at, that in our busy working lives and schedules, sometimes it's not easy to do that. You know, depending on what we do, depending on what our commitments are, sometimes we, give up on our own things, and we, sacrifice, I guess, for others. Sometimes that's because, like I said prior, you might have children that are reliant on you. Somebody might be sick. Maybe the babysitter's cancelled. Maybe, you just need to wind down. And, relaxing can be a couple of things. It can be something simple like just watching television on a night and watching your particular soap or whatever it is that you want to watch, having to fight over the remote control with other individuals in the household. So relaxing can mean lots and lots of different things. Some individuals, they meditate, they do yoga, they do Pilates, they go to particular clubs and events. They'll make sure, even if they have got commitments and other things, that they put that time aside. But like I said, sometimes it's not always easy to do that. If things arise, life happens, doesn't it? We can all think of scenarios where we've booked to do something, planned to do something, and unfortunately someone in our family member has got sick and they need that care and they need that looking after, and perhaps we're the only individual that's able to do that. So, things like that happen, things like that occur. But we need to make sure, more of us, I think, especially in this state of mental health that's going on right now in 2021, where we're not really looking after us. We're not looking after us as a first priority. Some of us are unfortunately getting to a stage where we've burnt ourselves out, okay? Because sometimes we're doing so much for our employers or for others around us that we're not necessarily looking after ourselves. If you're in a fortunate position sometimes to just catch up on some sleep, do it. If you're in a position where you can rest and you can relax, if you've had a couple of days off, and maybe that's what you need to do, not necessarily going out and doing other particular things. Maybe you just need to catch up on some Z's, as people say, because if your body isn't restored or balanced or fully charged up, you're not going to be in a position to be able to give anybody else part of your energy, And sometimes, depending on what it is that you're doing, relaxing could also mean taking a step back from things. If you've been busy working or volunteering somewhere else, or, giving up your time to help others, sometimes it's okay as well to take a step back from that particular scenario and give that time back to you and give that dedication back to you. Because sometimes, we give others more than we would ourselves. So also it's just rebalancing and retuning and making sure that we put ourselves into that equation when we come to relaxing. All of us will be listening to this and coming at it from different perspectives, different lifestyles. Some of us probably know very, very well how to relax. There might be the other kind of spectrum where someone relaxes way too much, and maybe the other partner or the person in your life is the one that's doing the running around. Give them a bit of a break, maybe restore some of the balance and allow the other individual to know what it is to relax. If that means in a household you take on some of the chores, for example, and the other individual happens to switch off a little bit, has a bit of them, me time, help them out a little bit, show a little bit of courtesy, show a little bit of respect, show a bit of love and compassion by restoring some of the balance and helping that other individual that perhaps you take for granted or is doing everything to relax. It's not always a clear-cut case, is it? So try it out. Try to put yourself first sometimes where you can, where you're not being egotistical, where you're not being selfish. Just try to put yourself first. Try and help the people around you, obviously, as well. It could be that you just do something different in part of your routine. No one's asking you to put 5, 6, 7 hours aside of relaxation every day. It could be that you start off with 10 minutes. It could be then you pace it up to 30 and you increase it and so on. It's all a matter of perspective, and it's all a matter of time and what you're able to provide time wise as well. You know, you're putting in commitment, I guess, for yourself, and you're putting in commitment for others around you as well. But like I said, the main important thing is putting that dedicated time aside to relax, to switch off, you know. I previously went through a podcast when I talked about mindfulness and meditation and doing things like that, and it's also making sure you use those types of techniques. It could be that you want to just sit and chill and listen to some music. That's totally fine too. But just make sure all of us make more dedicated time to relax, to help ourselves, so that we're fine-tuned and that we are more energized and we're able to take on whatever challenges faces the next day or in that particular day itself. And hopefully it allows us to be better physically, mentally, spiritually, and it helps us to be more grounded, and it helps us to be more energized. Hopefully you have a great time in finding some relaxation techniques, and hopefully it helps you get restored, and it helps you get more balanced, and it helps you on your day. Thanks for tuning in. See you for now.